Well, hi students. Here we are going to move on to, oh, cat opened the door again. Moving on to objective 10-5. And on this particular objective, we're going to be looking at how managers develop the workforce in their organization through training and performance appraisal. So here again, the manager now has to somehow develop the workforce. And the first thing is, well, you want to develop them, you've got to train them properly. So, training usually refers to teaching operational or technical employees how to do the job for which they were hired. Development refers to teaching managers and professionals the skills needed for present and future jobs. So, the first thing we want to do is assess the training needs. That is the first step in developing a training plan when we put it together. You look at what you need and what presently exists. Now, not all performance issues are due to lack of training. Motivation, poor equipment, poor supervision could be at fault. As training programs are expanded and developed, the managers should set specific and measurable goals specifying what participants are going to actually learn in the training. Managers should also plan to evaluate the training program after employees complete it. So, certain employees get into the training that need it, they take it, and now what type of feedback do we have? What do they actually learn beyond what they are presently doing? So, let's talk about some of the common training methods. After a company hires new employees, it must acquaint them with the firm and their new jobs. Lectures, readings, role playing, practice using tools and materials, web based activities are among the levels of training, just like the training you're getting now, but it's online because we can't physically meet. So, the purpose of the training and the content being provided will determine the preferred training methods. When employees must learn a physical skill, methods allowing practice or the actual use of tools and materials are needed. Commonly, we refer to that as on the job training. There is also something called vestibule, VESTIBULE, training, and that focuses on safety, learning, and feedback rather than on productivity. Now, once we do the training, we have to evaluate it, right? So, typical evaluation approaches include measuring one or more relevant criteria related to the training. Believe it or not, there are two things attitudes and or performance are also being assessed before and after the training. So, after the training, do we feel more confident? Do we feel like we're able to do the job better? And these are the types of things we want to look at. And then we want to determine whether the criteria changed as a result of the training and development. So trainees may say that they enjoyed the training and they learned a lot, but the true test is whether their job performance improves after their training. So now let's move on to performance appraisals. Performance appraisals are designed to show workers precisely how they are doing their jobs. Employees want feedback. Employees' performance should be evaluated regularly for a lot of reasons. One reason is that a performance appraisal may be necessary for validating selection devices or assessing the impact of the training program. In other words, do we have the resources we need to make the training more effective and in the end result, make the employees better at what they do? And I think that's what's important. A second administrative reason is to aid in making decisions about pay raises, promotions, and training. Still, another reason, and the most important reason, is to provide feedback to employees to help them improve their current performance and plan their future careers. So, because performance evaluations often help determine wages and promotions, they must be fair and they must be non discriminatory. In the case of appraisals, managers are using content validation to show that the appraisal system accurately measures performance on important job elements and does not measure traits or behavior that is irrelevant to job performance. So let's talk about some of the common appraisal methods. There are two basic categories of appraisal methods commonly used in organizations, and they are objective methods and judgmental methods. Objective measures of performance include actual output, the number of units that are produced, scrap rate, dollar volumes of sales, and the number of claims processed, say in an insurance company. Judgmental methods include ranking and rating techniques. They're the most common way to measure performance. However, some of them have some flaws. Then we have errors in performance appraisal. Errors or biases can occur in any kind of rating or ranking system. One common problem is recency error. It's RECENCY. And that is the tendency to base judgments on the subordinate's most recent performance because it is mostly easily recalled. But one appraisal is meant to evaluate performance over an entire time period. And that is HALO error, HALO. And that is allowing the assessment of an employee on one dimension to spread ratings of that employee on other related dimensions. One interesting innovation in performance appraisal used in organizations is called 360 feedback. And you may have heard of that before. That is, you assess your boss assesses you assess your subordinates assess you, and everyone assesses each other. It's costly, takes a lot of time, but it's really an accurate way to get feedback 360 degrees, and which managers are evaluated by everyone, their boss, their peers, their subordinates. Does it work? Yeah. Is it a lot and time intensive? Yeah. And then there's finally just performance feedback, and that's the last step in most performance appraisal systems, and that is giving feedback to subordinates about their performance. You don't want to wait to the last minute. You want to let them know how they're doing. And usually this is done in private meetings between the person being evaluated and his or her boss. It should be focused on the facts and not personal. How am I doing since the last evaluation? And what can I do to improve going forward? Again, not personal. The assessed level of performance is how and why that assessment was made, and most importantly, how it can be improved in the future. So this is the end of Learning Objective 10.5 for Wednesday.